And he continued to suggest that a Pacquiao-Mario Barrios welterweight title fight was possible. Bob Santos, the trainer for Mario Barrios, has said recently that he believes
36-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement to face 29-year-old Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight championship on July 19th in Las Vegas. That's according to an ESPN report. Pacquiao last fought in 2021 when he lost to Yordenis Ugas. Barrios won the WBC welterweight title from Ugas.
The boxing world is buzzing with two big questions. Should Manny Pacquiao even be stepping back into the ring? And does he truly have what it takes to beat Mario Barrios? As of now, Barrios is no easy opponent, and the prospect of Pacquiao facing him has fans and pundits alike leaning in with curiosity and concern.
Mario Barrios is the WBC champion, so who is he mandated to fight next? Do you have made that decision yet?
Well, at this time, Mario Barrios is going to fight Manny Pacquiao in July. That's a tremendous fight. It was released, PBC. Manny Pacquiao first title was the flyweight WBC, and he wants to retire as WBC champion, so he's fighting in the welterweight.
This isn't just a comeback, it's a full-blown spectacle. Pacquiao, once the electrifying force who conquered 8 weight classes, is now a 45-year-old legend chasing one last shot at glory.
Manny Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, it definitely has to do with money. 1. 2, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring against Ugas. You know, he didn't.
Meanwhile, Barrios, fresh-legged and riding a wave of momentum, has no intention of being anyone's stepping stone. This showdown isn't just about punches and titles. It's about pride, legacy, and the unforgiving truth of whether time shows mercy to anyone in the fight game.
Is not so happily retired. Seems to still be antsy about fighting. I was at the Andy Ruiz workout in LA this past week, and Sean Gibbons was there representing Isa Cruz and part of that.
Manny Pacquiao's return feels like a plot twist straight out of a Rocky movie, except this time, it's real life. After bowing out in 2021 following a humbling loss to Yordenis Ugas, most assumed the Pac-Man had thrown his final punch. But here he is again. Gloves laced, eyes locked on Mario Barrios and that WBC welterweight title. It's the kind of move that makes you question reality. Pacquiao's last outing showed a slower, more labored version of the once unrelenting whirlwind who tore through 8 divisions and humbled legends. But doubt isn't what makes a legend. Defying it does. Still, Barrios isn't here to play the role of farewell act. He's young, hungry, and dangerous, with a jab as sharp as a Tyson insult and momentum firmly in his favor. While Pacquiao was busy with political campaigns and the trappings of retirement, Barrios was grinding in the gym, stacking rounds like bills were due. It's the classic clash, old lion versus young predator. The only question is, does the lion still have any bite left?
Said recently that he believes it was going to happen. What do you think of your old, foil there, Manny Pacquiao, getting back in the ring again for a world title fight?
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to.
Eddie Hearn, a seasoned veteran in the boxing world, didn't sugarcoat it. He acknowledged that Pacquiao might still have enough left to beat fighters ranked outside the top 20. But let's be honest, that's less of an endorsement and more like saying, your grandpa can still drive as long as he stays off the freeway. And that's exactly what makes this fight so controversial. Pacquiao isn't stepping in against a faded name. He's going after a legitimate title holder, someone who's been active in the trenches, not dusting off old bones for one last spotlight. Fans are split. Half are cheering like it's 2008 again, dusting off old posters and riding the nostalgia wave. The other half are bracing for disaster, worried this ends with a stretcher instead of a celebration, and it's hard to fault either side. Pacquiao has spent his entire career rewriting the script, but now the punches hit harder, the legs move slower, and recovery isn't a matter of minutes anymore. It's measured in weeks.
8-2 with 39 knockouts. Barrios 29-2-1. And for more, welcome to CBS Sports combat analyst Brian Campbell. Manny Pacquiao, the first and only 8-division world champion. He'll be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame next month. And then in July, BC's going to come out of retirement. Why now?
By the way, between those two dates, I believe he has an election coming up for a Senate position in the Philippines. So we always know that, man.
And yet here we are, staring down a fight that feels like a crossover episode between two boxing eras. Barrios has everything to gain and not much to lose. A win over Pacquiao launches his name into the stratosphere. A loss still grants him the clout of having shared the ring with a living legend. That's a PR win either way. But for Pacquiao, this is all or nothing. Every jab he takes echoes with the weight of his past. A reminder that legacies can be crowned or crushed in just one bad round. Not everyone in the boxing world is sold on the romance of it all. Trainer Greg Hackett didn't mince words, calling it a money fight, a bout driven more by business than by honor. To him, the opponent, the timing, the build-up, it all reeks of financial strategy over sporting purity. But let's be honest, when has boxing ever been just about the sport? Promoters are licking their chops, pay-per-view numbers are projected to soar, and the world is watching once again. Hackett also offered a brutally honest take. This isn't a reckless last stand, it's a calculated move. If Pacquiao truly wanted to go out guns blazing, he could have called out Crawford or Boots Ennis. Instead, he picked Barrios, a credible opponent, but not a killer. It's the sweet spot. Dangerous enough to sell the fight, but winnable enough to keep the dream alive.
I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous.
Tim Bradley didn't stay quiet either, adding his voice to the growing chorus of skeptics. In his view, this comeback isn't about unfinished business, it's about unfinished checks. And honestly, it's a tough point to argue when a retired icon is suddenly handed a title shot without a tune-up fight. Who gets that kind of privilege unless money is pulling the strings behind the curtain? Barrios sees the setup too. He's not naive. He knows this is a golden opportunity, the young wolf invited to dine at the king's table. But unlike others who came to pay homage, Barrios is coming to claim the crown. Every interview, every sparring session, every drop of sweat is fueled by one goal, not just to beat the legend, but to do it decisively. Pacquiao, for all his greatness, is now walking a tightrope stretched between history and humility. A win would be a storybook ending. Another belt, another roar from the crowd, one more jewel in an already glittering legacy. But a loss? That's the real danger. A decision defeat is survivable. A knockout, though, that's not just a loss. That's a career ender. That's a legacy left bruised. And if there's one thing boxing fans are known for, it's having long memories. And short forgiveness.
Combat analyst Brian Campbell, Manny Pacquiao, the first and only 8-division world champion. He'll be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame next month. And then in July, BC's going to come out of retirement. Why now?
By the way, between those two dates, I believe he has an election coming up for a Senate position in the Philippines. So we always know that Manny is a busy man. He gets after it. He also dares to be great.
What makes this fight so irresistibly controversial is that it's about more than just two names on a poster. It's a clash of eras. Barrios represents the future, precise, calculated, and shaped by modern sports science. Pacquiao, on the other hand, is the embodiment of the old school, heart, hustle, and hand speed. This isn't just a fight about age, it's a symbolic collision of generations. One is climbing toward greatness, the other refusing to let go of it. And here's the twist that boxing's elite can't ignore. Even now, with arthritis knocking on the door, Pacquiao's style remains a nightmare to prepare for. He's awkward, unpredictable, and throws from angles that don't belong in any manual. That chaos is still dangerous. Just ask Keith Thurman, who found himself on the canvas in 2019 wondering what hit him. But 2019 was 6 long years ago, and in boxing years, that's an eternity. Time in this sport isn't measured in months. It's measured in what you've got left in your chin, your lungs, and your reflexes. While Pacquiao has been delivering speeches and shaking hands, Barrios has been putting in rounds, refining his craft, and sharpening his edge. The ring doesn't forgive, and it never forgets. Still, there's something about Manny, an aura, a spark. You don't just step in with a legend and expect an easy night. Sometimes the magic fades quietly. Sometimes it roars back one last time. That's why Barrios can't afford a single mistake. No slipping, no showboating, no assumptions. Because if Pacquiao lands early, all bets are off and the script gets rewritten.
This is wild news. Look, in the boxing underground rumor mill, this had been floating around for a couple months. We just didn't know if it was going to be for real. Was Manny really going to commit to not just coming back after 4 years away, after just one fight in the last 6 years, at age 46, but to come back directly into a title fight against a young, in his prime, active champion in Mario Barrios?